Wasted career. That's what fans called Javier Baez after 3 disastrous seasons with Detroit. The Tigers handed him $140 million, and he responded with some of the worst baseball anyone had ever seen. His contract became a laughingstock. Critics labeled it the worst deal in all of Major League Baseball. But something incredible happened in 2025 that nobody saw coming. Before we dive into this shocking turnaround, let's rewind to when Baez was actually worth that massive paycheck. Back in Chicago, he was electric. The man they called El Mago, the magician, could do things on a baseball field that defied logic. He helped the Cubs win their first World Series in over a century. He made 2 All-Star teams. He won a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger. He was the most valuable player of the National League Championship Series. Baez could play shortstop, second base, and third base at an elite level. His arm strength was ridiculous. His reactions were lightning fast. Even when his bat went cold, his glove kept him valuable. When Detroit signed him in December 2021, the deal seemed like a steal. 6 years, $140 million for a player entering his prime. Tigers fans were ecstatic. But baseball has a cruel way of humbling everyone. The nightmare began almost immediately. In 2022, Baez looked lost at the plate. His OPS plus dropped to 91, which meant he was hitting below league average. The 2023 season was a disaster. His OPS plus crashed to 63. He was striking out constantly and walking almost never. His chase rate, which measures how often he swings at balls outside the strike zone, peaked at a ridiculous 47.5% in 2022. His whiff rate, measuring how often he missed pitches he swung at, was equally terrible at over 40% in 2021. The plate discipline numbers told the whole story. Baez had a career strikeout rate of 27%, but walked only 4 and 6% of the time. In 2020, he struck out almost 32% of the time while walking just 3%. These are video game numbers on the worst difficulty setting, but the real embarrassment came with his mental mistakes. During a 2021 game against Cleveland, Baez forgot how many outs there were. He reached first base on a fielder's choice, then took off toward third on a fly ball. The ball was caught for the second out, and he was easily doubled off first base. Manager A.J. Hinch benched him immediately. Baez's own explanation was telling. He said his mind was everywhere, that he was so focused on his hitting struggles that he lost track of basic game situations. The pressure of his massive contract was clearly affecting his mental state on the field. Another bizarre incident happened against Pittsburgh that same year. Baez hit a routine ground ball to third base. The throw to first was wide, pulling the first baseman off the bag. Instead of running through the base like every player learns in Little League, Baez stopped to avoid being tagged. The first baseman chased him while a runner scored from second. Baez eventually reached second base on the extended play, but it was one of the strangest sequences anyone had ever seen. The 2024 season hit rock bottom. Baez posted a career low OPS plus of just 46. He was hitting 184 with an on-base percentage of 221. For context, most good hitters have an on-base percentage above 320. He was historically bad. Throughout this period, injuries were quietly destroying his body. Baez dealt with chronic back problems, hip issues, thumb injuries, and hamstring troubles. The hip and back problems were especially damaging because they affected his ability to rotate during his swing. He couldn't generate power or make consistent contact. By August 2024, the pain became unbearable. Baez finally agreed to extensive hip surgery, something he had been avoiding for months. He admitted he was being hard-headed about getting the operation, but the day after surgery, he immediately felt better balance. The rehabilitation was grueling, demanding patience from a player who approaches everything with aggressive urgency. Detroit fans had given up hope. Sports Illustrated called his contract the worst the team had on their payroll. ESPN analysts suggested the Tigers were paying a bench player an all-star price. With $73 million still owed through 2027, the deal looked like an albatross that would cripple the franchise for years. Then 2025 happened and everything changed. Baez didn't just get healthy, he completely reinvented himself as a hitter. The mechanical changes were massive. He closed his batting stance dramatically, moving from 33 degrees open in 2024 to just 10 degrees open in 2025. This created a much shorter step with his lead foot, improving his timing and swing rhythm. He widened his foot, spread from around 30 inches to over 33 inches. He moved up in the batter's box, going from 27 inches deep to less than 20 inches. This helped him see the ball better and stay on pitches longer. Most importantly, he fixed his hand placement. Previously, his hands were draped lazily on his shoulders with lots of unnecessary movement. Now they're tucked tightly just above his shoulders, creating less bat movement and better control. If you want to catch every moment of incredible comebacks like this without missing a single game, Fubo has everything you need. Stream live sports from all the major networks with no cable required. Check them out and never miss the action. The results were immediate and stunning. Through his first 130 plate appearances, Baez was hitting .309 with a .346 on base percentage and a .496 slugging percentage. His OPS plus jumped to 137, meaning he was hitting 37% better than league average. His strikeout rate dropped to 21.4%, his lowest since 2016. His whiff rate fell to 28.6%. While his walk rate remained low at 3 and 4%, he was making much better contact within his naturally aggressive approach. The power was still there too. He contributed 5 home runs, 8 doubles, and 27 RBIs in the early part of the season. One of those home runs was a historic walk-off blast that had Detroit fans going crazy. But here's what makes this story even better. Baez wasn't just hitting again. He was proving his defensive versatility by successfully moving to center field. Learning a new position at age 32, while dealing with a massive contract and years of criticism, takes incredible mental strength. He posted 3 outs above average early in 2025 while playing shortstop, third base, and center field. The underlying metrics tell an interesting story about his transformation. His bat speed actually decreased slightly from 74.8 miles per hour to 71.5. His exit velocity was down too. His barrel rate dropped from 7.8% to 2.2%. This means his improvement wasn't about hitting the ball harder, it was about making better contact more consistently. He was reducing his swing and miss tendencies and putting the ball in play more effectively. Instead of trying to crush every pitch, he was focused on quality contact within his aggressive framework. This represents a more mature approach to hitting. Baez was becoming a more efficient, aggressive hitter, rather than completely changing his philosophy. He kept the core elements of his identity while fixing his biggest weaknesses. The transformation was so dramatic that analysts started calling him a disciplined, defense-first, league-average bat who had become a vital piece for Detroit. His OPS plus of 125 early in 2025 meant he was finally providing value that justified at least part of his massive salary. The hip surgery was clearly the key that unlocked everything. Without the constant pain and restricted movement, Baez could implement the mechanical changes that his coaches had probably been suggesting for years. The improved balance and rotation allowed him to time pitches better and make more consistent contact. His career trajectory shifted from a concerning decline to a hopeful resurgence almost overnight. The contract that was universally mocked as the worst in baseball suddenly looked like it might have some value after all. The challenge now is sustainability. Can Baez maintain this level of performance over a full season? His improved contact rates suggest this might be more than just a hot streak. The mechanical changes appear to be addressing fundamental flaws rather than temporary adjustments. With $73 million still owed through 2027, the next 2 seasons will be crucial. If Baez can sustain something close to his 2025 level, the Tigers will have transformed one of baseball's worst contracts into a reasonable investment. From a wasted career to a reborn player, from the worst contract in baseball to a potentially valuable asset. The magician still has a few tricks left, and Detroit fans are finally smiling when they see number 9 step into the batter's box. Whether this represents a sustainable new baseline or just a temporary flash of his former brilliance remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, Javier Baez has reminded everyone why you should never count out a player with his talent and determination.